Let me tell you something unusual about silence in the digital era. We exist in a world where almost everything gets displayed: birthdays, coffee mugs, sunsets, tears, laughter, even struggles dressed up with filters. Yet some people remain completely unseen. They scroll quietly, notice everything, but rarely, if ever, share anything. You might even know someone like that. Maybe you are someone like that. And here is the question that always hangs in people's minds: why? Why would someone choose to stay hidden when the entire world seems desperate to be noticed? It is easy to assume that people who do not post are just shy or quiet, but that is not the whole story. Beneath the surface, there is a full psychology in motion, one that reveals a lot about human nature, self-awareness, and a soft resistance against a culture obsessed with constant visibility. For some people, silence is not emptiness at all. It is control. It is the ability to decide what the world does not have permission to see. Because whether we like it or not, social media has quietly changed how we define who we are. It rewards performance. It celebrates noise. And still, those who choose quietness, who stay in the shadows, are often the ones who see everything most clearly. They watch without needing to intrude. They think before they respond. They reflect before they judge. Experts have noticed something interesting. People who avoid posting frequently tend to score higher on traits like self-control, deep thinking, and emotional freedom. They are usually less driven by comparison and outside approval. In simple terms, they are not trying to prove who they are trying to understand it. And in a world overflowing with acts, that is uncommon. Because let us be honest, most of what we share is not just talk. It is building an image. It is an unconscious test for belonging. Every caption, every photo, every update whispers, "This is me. Do you like it?" But when you stop posting, something changes. You begin to detach your worth from digital applause. You stop thinking in captions. You start experiencing moments for yourself again instead of for a lens. And that is the quiet psychology behind many people who do not post. They crave something real in a space where everything feels fake. They do not dislike social media. They just cannot find themselves in it anymore. It is not about being against technology or being unfriendly. It is about refusing to squeeze your life into highlight clips. Because once you see how easily views can be manipulated, you start valuing what cannot be uploaded: silence, depth, mistakes, truth. For some, the choice not to post comes after a kind of emotional tiredness. Maybe they once shared everything until one day it stopped feeling honest. They realized that each time they posted something beautiful, they felt a small pressure to keep doing better. They were not living anymore. They were performing. So, they stepped away quietly. No announcement, just a slow fading from the feed. But here is what people often misunderstand. Not posting does not mean not feeling. It does not mean they do not care. It often means they care deeply about being present, about meaning, about guarding what is special. There is a concept in psychology called psychological ownership. It is that feeling that something is truly yours, a thought, a memory, an experience. And when you post it, that sense of ownership fades just a bit. The moment becomes public property, open to judgment, change, even teasing. So people who do not post are often protecting their sense of ownership over their life itself. They keep their moments untouched, private, and whole. And maybe that is not avoiding others or pulling away. Maybe it is a gentle form of freedom. Because think about it, when was the last time you did something meaningful and did not feel the urge to share it? When was the last time you laughed, cried, or finished something without immediately thinking of posting? That reflex, that urge to display, is not natural. It is learned. It is the result of years of likes, shares, and brain signals teaching our minds to confuse praise with worth. And when someone steps outside that pattern, it can look like rebellion, but it is also healing. They start finding the simplicity of doing things purely for themselves, cooking without taking a photo of it, traveling without tagging it, feeling without describing it. In that quiet, something wakes up, a form of self-awareness that does not need viewers. But not everyone who avoids posting does it from a place of peace. Some do it from fear of judgment, rejection, or being misunderstood. Social media has grown a small form of worry. Experts call it self-presentational pressure. The constant sense that you are being watched even when you are not. And for many, that is tiring. They worry their words might be read the wrong way or worse, ignored. So they pull back, not because they do not want to connect, but because the cost of being seen feels too heavy. They want to be seen, but truly not on the surface. And strangely, the quietest people online often have the loudest minds. They are not missing, they are full, they just choose being still over making a scene. There is a deep meaning to that silence. In a world constantly shouting, "Look at me," choosing to be invisible becomes a kind of self-defense. It is saying, "I exist beyond what you see." They might scroll through others' lives, nodding, smiling, sometimes hurting, but they rarely project because they understand something many ignore. Not everything you experience is meant to be watched. Sometimes the most changing things, growth, sadness, change, happen quietly, unposted, and unseen. And when you have moved through enough of those private shifts, you realize that being unseen is not the same as being unimportant. It is actually the place where who you are is built, not acted out. This is the puzzle. Social media was made to connect us, yet it often leaves people feeling more alone. When you stop posting, you stop chasing digital closeness and start rebuilding real closeness. You begin to notice who checks on you without constant updates. You learn who remembers you without reminders. That type of connection, raw, private, and unshared, feels heavier, warmer, and more real. And people who do not post live inside that space. They form relationships that do not need proof. They find comfort in unshared moments. They let life happen without turning it into content. Part of this is also about staying steady, knowing who you are even when no one is watching. When you are comfortable in your own company, you do not need an audience to check your value. That is not pride, it is calmness. And strangely, those who rarely post often have the most interesting stories, but they save them for moments when you are sitting across from them, not across a screen. Because real connection to them is not measured in likes. It is in shared silence, in eye contact, in laughter that does not need spectators. These are people who hold entire worlds inside them, who notice constantly, feel deeply, and understand quietly. They do not need global praise to justify their life. They just need to live it. And maybe in a world desperate to be noticed, their silence is not a weakness. It is a reflection, a reminder that not every meaningful thing needs to be shared, that sometimes the most human thing you can do is keep something entirely for yourself. You know what is interesting? The longer someone stays away from social media, the more clearly they begin to experience life. Colors seem richer, time feels slower, conversations feel deeper, as if stepping away from the noise makes everything real again. Because when you stop performing, you start living. There is a quiet beauty in moving through the world without needing proof of every step. You are not thinking about angles or words. You are just present, fully inside the moment instead of outside it. And that is something social media rarely allows anymore. But the psychology behind this reaches deeper than just what someone likes. It is tied to how our brains process reward. Every time something we post gets attention, likes, hearts, comments, our brain releases a chemical tied to reward and habit. With time, we begin to want that hit. We start looking at life through the lens of what can be shared. Now imagine someone who steps out of that loop, someone who on purpose breaks away from that reward cycle. That is not being bored. That is discipline. It takes awareness to resist something built to keep you hooked. People who do not post often have a strong internal sense of control, meaning their worth comes from within, not from outside approval. They do not need a digital echo saying you are enough to believe it. And here is something even more telling. Research shows that those who take long breaks from posting or using social media often experience clear increases in emotional steadiness and life happiness. Because when who you are is no longer constantly reflected back at you, it becomes grounded, it becomes real. You are not editing your life into something easy for others. You are living it in all its messy, beautiful, raw complexity. And maybe that is the true rebellion, staying whole in a world that rewards pieces. But online silence is not always calm. Sometimes it hides tiredness. For many, social media was once a place for connection, but turned into a place that drained them. There is a quiet, emotional fatigue that comes from watching everyone's best moments. While you are trying to make sense of your own behind-the-scenes life, you start comparing even when you do not mean to. You question your worth even when you logically know better. Eventually, some people step away not from being mean, but from protecting themselves. They realize they do not owe the world a performance. They do not owe explanations for their silence. They do not owe proof of their happiness to be believed. That is one of the hidden truths of our time. We have mistaken being seen for being valuable. We assume that to matter, we must be watched. But real meaning does not need witnesses. Some of the most defining moments of your life, the ones that shape you, will happen privately. No cameras, no captions, no audience, just you. And maybe that is what people who do not post understand. They know privacy is not loneliness, it is closeness with yourself. Because when you stop broadcasting every thought, you start hearing your own again. You reconnect with the parts of yourself that got drowned in noise. Your small desires, your unspoken fears, your inner direction. And that is something almost spiritual today. It is not pulling away, it is returning home. Of course, it is not always easy. There are moments of doubt, moments where you wonder if silence makes you invisible, if you are falling behind while others show progress. But eventually, you notice something reassuring. Your worth does not vanish when no one is watching. It stays steady and quiet like the hum of a room after a storm. And maybe that is real confidence. Not the loud online statement of self, but the calm offline certainty of it. Some people say, if you did not post it, did it even happen? But the truth is, the experiences that shape you the most rarely make it online. Your growth, heartbreaks, internal wins, moments of kindness, they live in memory, not media, and maybe that is enough. When experts talk about true self-expression, they mention alignment, the match between who you are inside and who you show outside. But in an age of filters, that match constantly moves. You begin living as a version of yourself created for approval. So, When someone chooses not to post, it may be their way of staying true, keeping that delicate connection between inner truth and outer face. They do not need everyone to see their feelings for them to be valid. They do not need to catch every sunset to remember its warmth. They live fully and quietly. And here is the irony. Those who live quietly often feel the world most strongly. They are not distracted by the presentation of it. They soak up details others miss, the way shadows move across a wall, the breath someone takes before speaking, faint laughter in the distance. They are present, and being present is the rarest thing in a world built on attention. But sometimes that very presence makes them misunderstood. People may see them as apart, mysterious, or cold, but if you look closer, their silence is not emptiness, it is depth. It is the stillness that comes from no longer needing to explain yourself to be understood. There is a quiet strength in not needing everyone to know you, just a few who truly get you. And that is what people who do not post understand. They know not every truth belongs to the crowd. Some pieces of you deserve to stay untouched by apps and opinions because the moment something becomes public, it stops being entirely yours. It becomes open to what people think, judgment, and trends, and some moments are too special for that. So the next time you notice someone who never posts, do not assume they are hiding. Maybe they are simply living. Maybe they found peace in the quieter corners of life, the ones not lit by the blue glow of a screen. Maybe they are the ones who remembered what the rest of us forgot. That being unseen does not mean being alone. That being quiet does not mean being empty. That sometimes the truest expression of who you are is silence. Because in the end, we are not meant to be acts. We are meant to be people. And the people who do not post, they remind us of that every quiet, natural, beautifully invisible moment. There is a final layer to this quiet life that we rarely talk about, and it involves the idea of legacy. We are taught that if we don't leave a digital trail, we will be forgotten. We feel a strange pressure to archive our lives so that others can look back and see that we were here. But people who choose not to post understand a different kind of memory. They believe that the best way to leave a mark on the world isn't through a profile, but through the people they touch directly. They invest their energy into conversations that leave no transcript and moments that leave no evidence. This creates a different kind of weight to their existence. When they are with you, they are entirely there, not half distracted by how the moment will look to a stranger later. This total focus is a gift that is becoming harder to find. It is the gift of being truly heard and truly seen by another human being without a screen in the middle. Think about the most important people in your life. Often the memories you hold dearest of them aren't the ones they shared with the world. They are the small, private things. The way they looked when they were tired, a joke shared in the kitchen, or the way they stood by you during a hard time. None of those moments needed a camera to be real. In fact, if a camera had been there, the moment might have lost its spark. By staying off the feed, these people are keeping the spark of life alive. They are protecting the now from being turned into then. They are refusing to let their current joy be stolen by the need to prove that joy to someone else. This isn't just a lifestyle choice. It is a way of protecting your soul from being spread too thin. In the end, the silence of those who don't post is a quiet invitation to the rest of us. It asks us a very important question. Who are you when the lights go off? Who are you when there is no one left to clap for you? If the answer feels scary, it might be because we have spent too much time building a person for the world and not enough time building a person for ourselves. But the good news is that you can always come back. You can choose to keep a secret just for yourself today. You can choose to look at a beautiful view and let it stay in your mind instead of your phone. You can find the freedom that comes from being invisible for a while. Because when you finally stop looking for yourself, in the eyes of the crowd, you might finally find yourself in the quiet. And in that quiet, you will realize that you were always enough, even when no one was watching. When we look at the future of our social lives, this choice to stay quiet becomes even more powerful. We are moving into a time where almost every part of our day can be tracked, measured, and shared. In a world like that, privacy is not just a luxury, it is a form of power. Those who do not post are often the most grounded because they are not constantly checking to see how they are being viewed. They are not waiting for a notification to tell them if their day was successful or if their outfit looked good. This creates a type of mental strength that is hard to shake. They are the owners of their own happiness. They do not give that power away to an algorithm that changes every day. They have built a life that functions perfectly well without a signal or a battery. This also changes how they handle hard times. When something goes wrong for most people, the first impulse is often to vent online or look for support from a wide circle of digital friends. But for the quiet ones, the healing happens in the real world. They go to the people they trust most. They sit in the silence and figure things out. They allow themselves to feel the pain or the confusion without trying to make it look like a lesson for an audience. This makes their growth much more solid. It is not a performance of getting better. It is the actual work of getting better. They understand that some wounds need shade to heal, not the bright light of public attention. By keeping their struggles to themselves, they ensure that when they do come back out into the world, they are coming from a place of true peace. There is also a special kind of mystery that surrounds people who do not post. In a time where we know what everyone ate for breakfast or where they went on vacation, not knowing anything about someone makes you pay more attention to them when they are actually there. Their words carry more weight. Their presence feels more intentional. They have not used up all their stories on the internet, so when they speak, they have something fresh and real to say. They remind us that there is a deep joy in discovering someone slowly over time through real-life interactions. They protect the magic of getting to know someone, and in doing so, they keep life from feeling like a giant repeated loop of the same images. They keep the world interesting by staying a bit out of reach. This leads us to a deeper truth about the value of time. When you are not busy capturing your life, you actually have more time to live it. Most people do not realize how much mental energy goes into the act of sharing. It is not just the seconds it takes to snap a photo or write a caption. It is the minutes spent checking for likes, the hours spent thinking about how you are being seen, and the constant background noise of comparison. People who do not post have reclaimed that time. They use it to notice the world around them in a way that others might miss. They see the tiny details in a person's expression or the way the light changes in a room because their eyes are not glued to a screen. They are the true observers of our age. There is also a sense of freedom that comes with not having a digital history to maintain. Many people feel trapped by the person they used to be online. They feel they have to keep acting like the version of themselves they created years ago. But when you don't post, you are allowed to change in private. You can try new things, fail at them, and move on without a permanent record of that failure. You can change your mind, your style, or your goals without having to explain it to 1,000 followers. This allows for a much more natural way of growing up. You are not a brand that needs to stay consistent. You are a human being who is allowed to be messy and different every single day. This privacy is the soil where true change grows. Finally, staying quiet is a way of honoring the people you are actually with. We have all been at dinner with someone who spends more time filming the food than talking to us. It sends a message that the people watching through the screen are more important than the person sitting across the table. People who stay away from the feed do the opposite. They give you their full, undivided attention. They make you feel like the most important thing in the world at that moment because they aren't looking for a better view or a more shareable moment. They remind us that the most valuable thing we can give each other isn't a like or a comment, but our simple, quiet presence. They show us that the best parts of being human happen in the gaps between the posts. When we think about the future, we have to ask ourselves what will remain of us when the technology changes. If our entire identity is built on platforms that might not exist in 10 years, what is left? People who do not post are building something that lasts. They are building a character that exists in the physical world. They are investing in skills, hobbies, and memories that do not require an account to be real. This gives them a sense of security that is very rare today. They know that even if the internet went away tomorrow, their sense of self would stay exactly the same. They are grounded in the earth, in their homes, and in their own hearts. They are not floating in a cloud of data. There is also a beautiful honesty in a life that is not recorded. When you tell a story to a friend about something you experienced, that story is a gift. It is something only the two of you share in that moment. It hasn't been seen by thousands of others first. This makes your personal connections feel much more tight and special. It turns your life into a collection of private treasures rather than a public museum. People who live this way understand that true wealth isn't how many people know your name, but how many people truly know your soul. They choose to be known by a few people very deeply rather than by many people very broadly. Ultimately, this quiet way of living is a return to what it means to be a person. For thousands of years, humans lived without the need to show every step of their journey to the world. We found meaning in the work of our hands, the thoughts in our minds, and the love of our families. The digital era is just a small moment in history, and the pressure to be visible is a very new burden. By stepping back, these quiet individuals are reconnecting with an older, more natural way of being. They are reminding us that it is okay to just exist. You do not have to be a creator, an influencer, or a brand. You can just be a human being, breathing and living in a world that is beautiful all on its own. This brings us to the idea of mental peace. In a world that never stops talking, the mind can become very crowded with other people's opinions and lives. We often carry around the voices of strangers without even realizing it. But those who stay away from the digital noise have a much cleaner inner space. They have more room for their own original thoughts. Because they aren't constantly filling their heads with what everyone else is doing, they can hear what their own heart is trying to say. This clarity is a superpower. It allows them to make choices based on what they actually want rather than what looks good to others. There is also a special kind of dignity in keeping your own counsel. There is a strength in knowing that you don't have to explain your choices to the world. If you take a walk, you don't have to tell people how many steps you took. If you read a book, you don't have to post a review to prove you understood it. This independence creates a life that feels very solid. It is like a house built on stone instead of sand. When the trends change or the online world gets angry, the quiet person is not moved. They are safe in their own reality, a reality that doesn't rely on a signal or a screen to stay upright.